Welcome, everybody. We are kicking off our Walking Wednesday this year, which has been tremendously successful over the last 2 years. We're kicking off here in Southwest Lansing, where we have just a tremendous amount of activity. We're very excited. We're here in the Hoop House outside the Southside Community Center. We're going to take a tour led by Rachelle White, who is with the Southwest Action Group and a small business owner here in Southwest Lansing. We're going to see a whole lot of exciting things. We're going to see the new park, the new soccer field. We're going to see some land bank property that we're looking forward to seeing some redevelopment. We're going to see the space of a new town square that we're very excited that many of the people standing behind me have worked so hard on for so many years. This is the year where it's going to come to fruition. We know things have been really tough this year. This has been probably one of the most challenging years in a long time, but here we are showing that there are still a lot of really good things happening in Lansing, especially right here in Southwest Lansing. We're trying to make sure that we see and talk to all the business folks. We're trying to get business assistance for those in South Lansing and throughout the city. But here we are for our first Walking Wednesday, and I think Rachel is gonna lead us off and start the tour. So I'm gonna introduce Rachelle White.
So my name is Rachelle White. I'm the president of the Southwest Action Group, also known as SWAG. And as he said, we're standing in the Hoop House of the Southside Community Center. And they do this annually. They keep it going through the winter. And it is to provide food to local residents who don't have access to fresh vegetables. They do a lot of different things here as far as supporting the community. And one of the things was developing the property behind the center. And that is the new Beacon Park, including Beacon Southwest soccer field, which I believe we're going to be walking to now. As you can see, the Beacon soccer field is almost directly behind the Southside Community Center and right on Simpkin Road here. And to give a little bit of background as far as how the park was created and how we got to have a wonderful soccer field here in Southwest Lansing, I'm going to start with Roxanne Case from the Land Bank.
Hi everyone. So we gained this property many years ago, and at the time there were a couple apartment complexes on this property and they were demolished. And a few years ago, this development started, and we transferred 3 lots, this lot and a couple other lots, to the city of Lansing so that this Beacon field, the soccer field, could be constructed. And it's just a beautiful facility. And I'm going to let Adam talk about it.
So this was actually modeled after the Beacon Field in Ferris Park. So Ferris Park, I believe that opened back in 2015. And at that time, we absolutely knew that we needed something similar in Southwest Lansing. So we started working with the Capital Area Soccer League. We started working with Cameron Nass. We started working with the Lansing Economic Area Partnership, City of Lansing. And we started to plan for this. And so we had, fortunately, we had this $300,000 number we had to reach. And luckily, we had a ton of support from the Capital Regional Community Foundation, South Lansing Kiwanis Club. We had a tremendous amount of support from Wheeling Construction. They did a number of things, essentially for free for us. And then we also engaged in what is called a patronicity crowdfunding campaign. And it was a dollar for dollar, all or nothing effort. And if we were able to raise $50,000, then the MEDC would come through with $50,000. And luckily, within 30 days of launching that campaign, we were able to raise more than $50,000. We got the MEDC match. And so what you see behind us is you see a beautiful artificial soccer field. You see a Kaboom playground, and of course we'll visit that in a little bit. And you see some land that is ready to be developed into walking trails. At some point we're hoping to have exercise equipment and some things for folks that are physically disabled and things of that nature. And so these things are still coming together. It's a work in progress, but as you can see, we've been able to bring quite a bit across the goal line already, and the community is certainly coalescing around it and really excited about it. All right, So as we discussed earlier, part of Beacon South is this beautiful new playground. This is a what's called a Kaboom playground. And to discuss the playground and the effort that went into this, I'm going to actually turn this over to Jason Wilkes. Jason Wilkes is the president of Rejuvenating South Lansing. He's a board member with the Southwest Action Group, and he was very, very involved in the advocacy for this and then actually the building aspect of this playground. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Jason.
Kaboom is a national nonprofit group, or they have a nonprofit side to themselves. They reached out. It's a grant. Basically, they come in and set up all of this great equipment, bring it up, and then the community came in. There were 3 different options of setup, and everybody had an opinion and a vote. And based on what the community came up with, this is what the final result was. And then part of the deal is they supply all of the equipment to make it, put it together, but the community is the one that actually was shoveling all of the wood chips, setting everything up, getting it put together. They just supply everything you need. And then the community, there was probably 120 volunteers that came out to help to make this all possible. And so it isn't just one group, one organization, that there were many hands from all over the city and outside of the city that made this possible. So we're very thankful. As our mayor had pointed out, you can kind of point out the pieces that you actually helped put together. So there's a lot of feelings in the equipment because of the work that was done. So we appreciate Kaboom.
And as Jason points out, one of the really cool things, like I can point out right here, this whole piece, these poles, there were 3 or 4 of us all holding a pole. 2 of us had this on our back. These are not light, but digging the holes. When we first walked around, we were all trying to watch our feet because it was raining so hard and gross and muddy, and we're all tripping in holes. We were probably all of us, all 3 of us, all of us that took part, we were up to about here in mud. But you get to actually look at this and say, I did this. I did this here. It's not just someone came and put it up, but we all had a part to play. We wanted to make sure the screws are tight. We had a bunch of experts because I am not a construction person. So we had experts who were monitoring to make sure. Community build is one of the most exciting things you can do in a community because it's blood, sweat, and tears that you get to do for your kids. This is for our kids, and it feels like we were there to help and create something for the community. So with Jason leading it, with Adam, we had all these different organizations. The realtors did some work over with some playground equipment and with the swing sets over there. Representative Sarah Anthony was here with her team, and just tons of South Lansing folks, a lot of SWAG folks. It was just an incredible community partnership. Everything we have in the COVID era that is outside that we can engage is hugely important. Having trails, having soccer, having playground equipment. Parents have to make sure that all their kids are distancing, and we want to make sure everything is safe. But being able to get out of the house right now, everybody is squirrely in the house. You want to be able to get out and do some things. It's really important in coronavirus.
With Beacon Park coming past the soccer field and Kaboom playground coming off of Simpkin, we will have an aggregate trail that will be all accessible. So bikes, walking, running, anyone with physical disabilities, they will be able to utilize this area. There will be a little offshoot behind the Kaboom playground, and that will include a couple of benches for those who are watching their children play. That will also have an accessible area for anyone who might be wheelchair bound so that they have the full turn radius. That's going to be the first part of the project with the half-mile trail. And then later date, we will be adding an exercise pad where an exercise station can kind of be made and rotated through in conjunction with the walking path or riding path as it might be. So as coming from Simpkin Road, it goes all the way through up to Pleasant Grove. And we're going to walk up there and we can kind of show you where a new archway introducing Beacon Park is going to be and kind of give you a tour from there what else is going on in the area. going to be the entryway to the Beacon Park from Pleasant Grove. It's a nice area that's going to tie in our town square in the southwest area and the artwork there with the Beacon Park and the artwork with the soccer field. So we're proposing an archway, and this entryway will be 15 feet wide. We actually did work through a process working with the homeowner that owns the property that this abuts. And so we purchased enough property to provide the easement and to provide access to the park. Now we'll cross over to the town square, talk a little bit about the efforts that we put into to get that going so that we can have it complete by this year. In fact, hopefully by the end of the summer. So this is the property of the new town square. As I said, it goes curb cut to curb cut, and it goes 63.5 feet back. We have been working on this project for an extremely long time, and we have finally gotten it over the finish line so that we will see completion. So even with all the struggles we've faced along the way, it's still going to happen. We have worked very closely with the city to get this project to happen. We all know that we have seen it kind of deteriorate over the last 20 to 30 years, and it would be great to see some rejuvenation and revitalization, which is what Rejuvenating Southwest Lansing does and what Southwest Action Group does. The City of Lansing found us $100,000 through a community development block grant, and so that is the funding that's going to be used to create the actual landscape itself, with the centerpiece being the large showcase piece of art. So essentially this project is a beacon for Southwest Lansing, bringing in the positivity and raising the area to where it should be.
We worked with LEAP. We started in 2018. So we changed the look of the store. We expanded the doorway. We made the store a lot more family friendly and more accessible and a lot nicer. I think it's just a nicer look. As you guys can see, it's a much better look for the area. And I feel like it's a representation of myself. And, you know, when I took over 6 years ago, the store was already called 1910. And it's this store is like a staple in the community and in the Lansing area. We actually have customers that come from like all over the place. We have customers that come in from down south, from different states, just to come here because of the specialty different meats that we carry in here. We carry over 2,000 different cuts of meat, and we have them on daily basis, which is very rare. So 1910, I didn't want to change the name of it, so I kept the store and I just kind of capitalized on the name and, you know, created a logo and just made it what it is today.
So we are on site at the old school known as New Hope Academy, for those who have been around long enough to know about it. And the property is currently owned by the Ingham County Land Bank, and I'm going to have Roxanne talk a little bit more about the property with that, and I know she's going to get David involved as well as far as what's going to be happening here.
Thank you, Rachel. So I'm Roxanne Case, the Ingham County Land Bank Executive Director. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about the area here. The land bank has invested over $8 million into this area, into the southwest area of Lansing. That's done with federal, state, and local funds. We have completed 32 renovations and sold them. We've done 6 new constructions, and we've sold some fixer-uppers to put it back into the private market so that other people can fix up. All of these properties were done with homeowner occupancy covenants. So homeowners are living in these houses, which is awesome. We still own 70 properties. This is one of them. And I'm gonna hand it over to David Burns. He is our real estate specialist and knows a lot more about this property. David?
Yeah, thank you. Well, Ingham County Land Bank has owned this property since 2017, and currently we've got a signed purchase agreement with a local developer who's intending to develop a healthcare facility and also additional community space for kind of designed for community engagement. So we're really hoping that a redevelopment of this property brings this whole area together and serves the local community well. There's a little bit of a historic nature to this. Malcolm X actually went to school here, and the intent is to memorialize his going to school here. So that's going to be in the plans as well.
I think the only thing I would add, just to provide a little bit of context, is going back to 2016, we engaged several hundred people in Southwest Lansing, and it was part of what we called the Southwest Lansing Initiative. And we actually put together a plan, but in terms of part of that process, the community kind of coalesced and said, look, this intersection is really kind of central to Southwest Lansing, and it is absolutely critical that we move this intersection forward. And then further, they actually identified this property as being one of the critical properties that needs to be redeveloped in order to kind of advance our community in the way that we want to see it advance. So I think sometimes people think that, plans have been put in place, they're collecting dust, nothing's happening, but we really have been pushing, and we've been pushing heavily to implement the different provisions of that plan. And obviously this site is critical to that plan and moving this intersection forward. So COVID-19, I think, created some hiccups in the process, and then there were some other things in terms of our local economy and other projects that created a little bit of kind of a stalled out aspect to it. But I think we're getting there. I'm hoping we're getting there. So I'm really excited about it.
So now we're over at the CATA bus station, which has a new look to it due to some input from the Southside Community Center and with the help of the City of Lansing. So I'm going to have Delisa talk a little more about that.
Hi, thank you, Rachel. So the Neighborhood Grants Program, every year, neighborhoods are able to apply for a grant project for up to $5,000 to impact their neighborhood. And so one year, CATA came to the Department of Neighborhoods and Citizen Engagement, wanted to know how they could impact funding, and a partnership had grown from there. So what happened was the Southside Community Coalition, along with SWAG, applied for a CATA bus stop grant. So their portion of the grant was the art portion of it, if you can see right here. That was a little under 50% of the grant, and then CATA brought along $7,000 of grant funding to help build the structure and to make sure it was sound and secure. So that became a great partnership with the city and CATA Transportation Center. And now we've got two done. We've got one here on the south side, one on Baker in Pennsylvania, and then we've got two more coming up this grant year. So we'll be doing Walking Wednesdays for the rest of the summer. So be sure to be on the lookout for the Walking Wednesdays in your neighborhood.
Plenty more coming up in Southwest Lansing, and can't wait for you guys to come along with us on the next ride.